Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new video. My name is RuffledRowlit, and today, guys, we have quite an interesting video to do, guys. Now, honestly, I'm gonna be frank. This video is gonna be quite different from what we talked about so far. So, as you may know, currently the Pokemon Company and Pokemon in general, and Sword and Shield in particular, are under heavy attack by the community. People are angry from the English side, very much like people, you know, from Europe and people from America, North America, you know, South America, etc. People are angry. Very angry about what they're doing with Sword and Shield, the choices that have been made, and just the general direction of Pokemon, especially with the new policy change that's happening that Masuda announced, where they're from now on going to officially not include every single Pokemon inside of Pokemon games, but rather they're going to go down a bit of a different path. So it's very much a worrying situation. Also, I do apologize if you hear background noise from here, from my window. There's a bunch of children outside playing. I mean, honestly, they're annoying. You know what I mean? But what can I do about it? Not much I can do about it, you know? So either way, apologies if you hear, random yelling and shit and, just the sound of these guys, I don't know, making dog noises and shit. But yeah, if you hear them, I apologize. It's just random kids outside. So yeah, either way, back to the actual point here. So, as you know, the English community is very much angry, as you can see on Twitter, as you can see on Reddit, as you can see on 4chan. 4chan is, by the way, I haven't touched 4chan in a while now, but holy moly. Okay, either way, here's the thing, though. The community is pissed off. And some people making the arguments, some people, I saw, making the arguments that, the Japanese side of the community wasn't really that angry or pissed off. Well, it turns out that isn't really true. And we have a thing here, a Reddit post, and I apologize, guys, if you can't see the full post here, but this isn't everything. We have more than just this post. But this post right here is about the Japanese opinion regarding the National Dex cut. And somebody here, this was posted by Biob1R, who basically found this high upvoted comment in the YouTube E3 gameplay video from a Japanese guy. He asked for someone who could visit the English websites to post it on Reddit, so I'm doing right here, and here's the direct link. And I actually went to the video and I found the guy's comment, and it's from this YouTube viewer right here. I'm going to go to his profile real quick just to kind of show you what his profile looks like. Here it is. And this was an individual, and I'm not trying to do this to attack him or anything. I like his comment because I think it kind of gives us a little bit of an insight. But apparently he's a Japanese viewer and clearly loves Pokemon. He loves Lucario. It's kind of obvious right there from that. But here's his comment, though, and we're going to go read through it. And it's in English. So, I mean, I don't know if it's if he's really Japanese or whatever. So, and basically someone said I should put this on Reddit, and he said that I'm a guy in Japan, so I can't use English websites. Anyone reading this can put it on a site or any other discussion sites and add their own points if they want. And here is the post here from this guy, then, kind of summarized. So here it is. People in Japan are very angry about this also. This is a huge deal for two reasons. The first reason is that in Japan, we're rarely vocal about our opinions because we don't like to start conflict. And this is true. If you've ever seen any information about Japan and just kind of the Japanese people, they're very mellow and they don't like to get into conflicts and confrontations. They're very confrontational people, right? They like things to be handled very civilly, and, they don't like to get very, well, basically very, kind of vocal and angry about these things and get their opinions too, hard, quickly out there and to start conflict. You can kind of see that from what he's saying here, and also you've seen it if you know about Japan. And if we are very passionate about something, and if we are very passionate about something and tell people our opinion publicly, it must be very important. Fair enough. Pokemon is a very popular video game series in Japan, and a lot of people care about it. And that's very true. Pokemon makes up a lot of their sales in Japan. If you guys don't know this, in Japan, whenever there's a new TCG set or a brand new toy that comes out that's limited edition, that instantly sells out in the Japanese online, the Japanese online stores instantly, and also in the stores, in the actual stores, if there's an exclusive item to that store, people will buy that out straight away because the Japanese people, love Pokemon stuff. They genuinely love Pokemon. Sure, is Pokemon getting losing a little bit of steam over there? Sure is, but still as popular as it as it's been for ages now. So we want Game Freak and Nintendo, and people care about it, right? So we want Game Freak and Nintendo to put as much effort into these games as they can to make the best quality games they can be. Now, they could have definitely added all the Pokemon and had no real issue to cut them. The Switch can definitely handle 1,000 plus Pokemon models, and that is true. It definitely can. There are other games that can handle that many, that are on the Switch that can handle, it can handle that many models. That's not an excuse. It is much more powerful than the 3DS and can handle 800 plus Pokemon plus their walking/running animations. They already had every old Pokemon model from Sun and Moon to use and just had to update it graphics-wise. Plus, they already had 151 Kanto models finished in Let's Go. That's true. You already had even those to use, and on top of that, you even had already, prior to that, you had all the models already completed and done. Now, next thing, they could have put Sword and Shield as a priority and had the best team working on the game, but they didn't. Instead, they sidelined Pokemon in favor of a new game and had their secondary team developing Pokemon. They didn't hire enough people to work on the games and treated it like it wasn't important. And I talked about this I've talked about this previously. I've actually mentioned this prior, and I talked about this a little bit in a different video. Now, I'm not sure if that video, because I'm going to be putting out 2 videos today. I'm not sure if this is going to be my first video or my second video. I think it's going to be my first video, because this one's going to be shorter than the other one. The other one's like 30 minutes. That's already recorded. So I think this one's going to come out first. But yeah, I actually talked about this in my other video, that they actually ended up putting there, and this is just me not reading the text right now, but they actually took their A team and put their A team to work on other IPs and other projects, and took their B team, their inexperienced developers, to work on their main franchise Pokemon, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, here's the thing. It's understandable if you want to move the torch and give the torch over, but you don't give them, like, the position of, like, doing all the crunch time work and making all the stuff on their own. You make sure to put the other guys in as well, like put in your other developers, your other, employees, to also help them out with the game. And clearly, if it's in a rush period, you got to make sure to do that, to get everybody, and not just leave them on other things because you don't care enough about Pokemon to, give it that extra push. So yeah, so that was that. Now, the second reason this is a problem is that when they realized that they weren't going to have enough time to update every Pokemon model and put it into the game, they chose not to hire more people and do it. They chose not to hire more people and do it. Instead, they came up with an unconvincing excuse. Also, they wouldn't have to spend any extra time, money, or effort into developing the game. True. They figured they could get away with cutting content because they figured people would buy the games no matter what. Terrible decision they make. They think saving money is more important than making a great game. Corporate greed is one of the biggest issues people have with this whole thing. Game Freak and Nintendo are planning on cutting a ton of Pokemon that people love from their future games because they don't want to bother hiring more people and spending more time and money to make the games fun for everyone. It's about more than just the fact that they aren't including all the Pokemon. Game Freak and Nintendo have been prioritizing other games over Pokemon for a while now and have not been putting nearly enough effort into recent games. They have been making games with unfinished areas like X and Y or no post-game. They have started handing out legendary and mythical Pokemon as gifts instead of introducing them through in-game events that allows to catch them in a unique area of the game and add to their lore. Which, wow, you just literally, like, my stomach just started flaring up because I just got this burst of anger in me. That is so true, and I swear to God that, like, Listen, I don't want to hate on Sword and Shield, but this is not even about Sword and Shield. This is about Pokemon in general. This right here pisses me off to the ends of the world. And I know I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers because of my criticism and all that. And I know I'm also going to lose my subscribers for defending Sword and Shield in some aspects. Honestly, I'm just going to lose subs anyways. Listen, I'm going to just lose subs no matter what, man. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm just going to lose subscribers one side or another. But I'm going to say something right here, guys. They have been really making Pokemon dumber and dumber over the years and just worse and worse. Because this is so true. This has always pissed me off, that they have made Legendaries and Mythicals so freaking useless. They have made them so useless. Nowadays, you're handed legendaries. You get codes for legendaries. And to mythicals, when was a mythical interesting the last time? When did they last time have a mythical Pokemon that was interesting? I think it was over like 6 years ago. We last had a Pokemon that, like, I think ever since Black and White, mythicals have been shit, okay? Because they've been handed to you. They've just been handed to you through codes. And that just makes me so disappointed, dude. I remember back in the day, man, if you wanted a mythical Pokemon, you had to do a journey to get it, man. You had to do things, in-game lore and shit. You know, you had to go through, like, these mysteries and shit to get them, right? Or to even get legendaries, it was interesting. In Sun and Moon, you're handed the legendary. It's given to you. It's literally like, oh, you want this? Here you go, right? It's like, really? And they make the legendaries, like, so easy to catch. They all put them in the same thing. They make them all in, like, this repetitive cycle. Like, I love, like, you know, doing the ultra wormholes, but I think they're lackluster because I don't think the legendaries should have been in those, like, wormholes, because all they did was, like, oh, cool, we're just gonna make these, like, 4 or 5 different, like, you know, areas that look exactly the same, right? Just like different, like, you know, this one's gonna have a little bit of water, this one's gonna look a little bit more like deserty, whatever the fuck, you know, whatever. We're just gonna do them a little bit differently, right, each time, and then we're gonna put all the legendaries in there, not make unique areas for them, but just make them all, like, just be in these areas instead. It's like, really? You couldn't have made, like, unique areas for all these. No, you just, like, reuse the same thing. Really? Like, they've been lazy, not for, and this is, they are lazy. You can't deny, sure, I'm not saying, like, you know, the developers are working on this stuff are lazy. I'm saying that the company in itself is just this kind of, like, become this thing where they just want to get things out as quickly as possible. Does that mean that they aren't working hard, that people are sitting by the computers having to do all this shit? Of course they are. But they're clearly just telling them to just do the least like amount of work, or just like, cut corners. Like, that's the thing, they're cutting too many corners. That's the thing. I guess it's less of laziness, but they're just cutting too many corners, to make as much profit as possible, whereas, expending as little money as possible by not hiring more people. So I guess the people who are working hard because there's so few of them, so they are working hard, but they have to cut corners all the time to make do, which is really frustrating. And this is very clear with what they've done with mythicals. Mythicals are useless, okay? They just are useless, man, and that just so angers me so much. But either way, let's continue. So, add to their lore, and sometimes they add extra things in a version 2 of the game, but we shouldn't have to pay for a whole other game, just so we can get a finished version, which is true. And I've seen people like argue, like, oh, don't worry, if Sword and Shield doesn't have everything, they'll do like Pokemon Bow or Pokemon Gun or Pokemon whatever, and they'll complete it in that game. I'm like, are you serious? Should I have to buy another game to get that completed for me? Should I really need to buy another game to get the complete version of a game that I've already bought once? That's just not fair. And if people come with the argument as well, like, oh, just they should do DLC, so we can buy it as DLC, the other stuff. Instead of making like Ultra Sun and Moon, they should have given us that as DLC that we can buy. No, we shouldn't even have to buy that. If that's shit that's meant to be in the game to begin with. Not, that's not the stuff that should be, made into a whole brand new game afterwards because you were too lazy to do it in the first time around. Like, come on. I'm sorry, I'm really heated right now. This was not meant to be a heated video. I was meant to kind of like give my opinion, but like the more I read about this, the more I realize. And sometimes they add extra things in 2 versions of the game, so you have to pay for a whole other game to get the finished version. But it seems like for every step forward, they take another step, 2 steps back. And this is so true. I actually said this in my other video. Some people are pretending not to notice these things and are still looking through rose-colored glasses. I hope I used that English phrase right. Now, I'm not sure how you would know that, but okay, that phrase. The problem with that is that it allows Game Freak to get away with almost anything. That is partially why there was a drop in quality. They don't listen to their fans for the most part, and that has to change. Pokemon is an important franchise that deserves a super high quality game with a ton of time and effort put into it, like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey. Even Mario Odyssey has like literally far more effort put into it. Just kind of sad, to think that Pokemon, the franchise just doesn't have as much work put into it, man. Which is, I feel like Pokemon's a legacy franchise. It's a legacy. It's a legacy franchise. Same way Mario is a legacy franchise, right? It's a franchise that everybody knows, right? Like everybody in the world, pretty much. I think could, if you ask them, like, you know what Pokemon is, they at least know what it is. They don't need to have ever played it, but I think they know what it is. If I ask my friend, I have a friend who's never, like, Andreas. He was on one of my streams the other day. He's never played Pokemon, but like, like if I ask him, do you know Pokemon? Yeah, I know Pokemon, Pikachu, all that stuff. Yeah, I know it, and he still knows it because he's just heard about it. It's so big that everybody knows about it, though they may not play it. So the semi-open world areas of Sword and Shield look beautiful, and the Pokemon in the overworld is a great new feature. But at the same time, they got rid of very popular and creative things like Mega Evolution in favor of a one-time gimmicks. And that's what I say in my other video as well, that they take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And if you like those gimmicks, that is fine, but it shows that they are not listening to what the majority of fans want. And now they're giving us an unfinished product that has even less than their 3DS games did. This is not acceptable and is the biggest problem. Nintendo and Game Freak think it is okay to put less effort into Pokemon games because we will buy them anyway. People want to let them know that we are tired of our favorite games being set to the side. We want them to prioritize Pokemon for once. Sword and Shield deserve to be the best quality Pokemon games they can be. Someone said I should put this on Reddit. I'm a guy in Japan. Someone said I should put this on Reddit. I'm a guy in Japan, so I can't use English websites, and they did this as an edit. And I'm not sure what the response is. And honestly, Japanese fans are one of the are the ones they generally listen to over Western ones. They seem to be having the same reaction we are, if not more so. Hopefully, this makes a difference. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, man. This is sad, dude. I really hope this is actually from an actual Japanese fan, and I really do hope that the Japanese community is feeling the same way, because otherwise I would be very, very frustrated. But apparently they are feeling the same way, because I got this tweeted to me a few moments ago by Lee Van Pol, who tweeted to me, this thing saying that Japan is trolling Game Freak. So apparently this was posted on 4chan here, saying ever since Masuda opened his mouth, Japan has been trolling the ever shit out of Game Freak by making 3D models of random Pokemon in less than 5 minutes just to prove his argument is pure bullshit. And they use that tag, hashtag, I'm not sure what it says, is a tag they're using on Twitter. Pick related is an example from someone. And right there you see somebody made a Magnemite right there. Somebody made a Magnemite 3D model in 5 minutes, and even animations most likely for it, because it's not really a very hard Pokemon to make. It's like, balls and, kind of sides, and I probably couldn't even make animations for it. So, yeah, I think we know for a fact, guys, their argument that they didn't have enough time, I think is pretty BS. They definitely had enough time, especially when they already had the models finished. They had the models finished, and all they needed to do was texture work. Texture work, which they already had the textures done. You just needed to, up-res them, or just, like, use the basis of them and just remake them quickly. And that's remaking something, like that isn't that hard. Like, I've done some game development in my life. I did 3 years in school, development, learning and all that stuff. Sure, UV mapping and all that crap is boring, but when you already have a basis to work from, it is a million times easier. It's so much easier when you're working from a base rather than working, because we got to make the games in different manners. We had to make a game where we had the assets already finished for us, and they basically said, like, you just got to make additions to them. You got to edit them and make them work in your game, right? In your, in the engine you're using is got to do the same thing we've done here. Here's the assets, just redo the assets and make a game out of it. And we did this in I think the first grade of of gymnasium whenever I was doing this. And I remember we remade the game, with like a cannonball shooting and all that stuff, and we had to remake it and all that stuff, and we did it. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was pretty simple, once you already have the established things, if you already know what you're doing, it's not that big of a deal. If you already have assets to work with and you just got to remake those or res them up or whatever you got to do, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so I'm really sad to see this, and if the Japanese side is seemingly angry, I don't know, man. Now I don't know again if this guy is really Japanese. I do hope he is, because then that would confirm that even the Japanese side of things are not happy, and clearly this guy here says that even seemingly the Japanese side on Twitter are frustrated, so it seems like it is true. The Japanese fans are also angry, so I don't know, man. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Whenever this video comes out, shortly after that, I should also be streaming a little bit later. So yeah, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all the next time. Peace out.